I was trying to reconcile with Meri, and Meri gave me this really cool birthday present, and Christine lost her that day. She comes to a family party and leaves, yelling to one of the kids that she was in a loveless marriage. This is 2 years before she kicks me out.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Wednesday, December 14th, 2022, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I had a wonderful interview yesterday with Kristen Decker, who happens to be a relative of Kody Brown. Some people are getting confused, and that's of their familial connections. She's actually first cousins with Christine's dad, Rex, and she's Christine's mom's stepsister, so she's a step aunt to Christine. And in this amazing interview, which I hope you guys found enlightening and inspiring and also filled with information and knowledge to help you understand this group better, she explained the complicated dynamics of marriages in this world and how there's constant pitting of women against one another by men to keep women unstable and blaming wives for ruining other things for other wives. So it's always this wife's fault, and then going to that wife and then saying it's this wife's fault, really to make it so that it's never the fault of the man. There's also an unnatural expectation of women that they need to be okay with men having other wives and having other relationships, and also be okay hearing about it and okay having to see it in front of their faces. And there's a constant sense of competition and jealousy between the wives of who can be the best wife, who can offer the best to the husband, who can be the best cook, who can do the best things at home, front hugging, all of it. And so when you hear that and you realize that this is a dynamic that's set up for disaster and how hard it is to maintain a sense of normalcy in this world, it's easy to see that dynamics between the adults in this family would become very toxic. And because of that, knowing that a lot of the men do what Cody does, which is pitting the women against each other and always blaming the other women and pitting the women against each other, it's easy to see that women in this situation would become extremely insecure and feel very threatened by one another. It's difficult for anyone to establish any sense of normalcy or feel secure with their husband when there's this constant chaos happening around them in their relationships. Another thing that happens is the rewriting of history, and what Kristen mentioned is once you leave, the lies and being thrown under the bus and the slander starts, and just complete and utter lies are told about someone. Now, another final thing I want to say before we jump into this topic that I think is going to be relevant to this video is that she had mentioned that Cody throughout the years had given Christine a million reasons for why she should leave. He wasn't attracted to her, wanted to have a platonic relationship with her. He only wanted her for helping him get out of a sticky situation with Meri and with Janelle. He just in general wasn't into Christine, was never in love with her, he said, did things for her out of a sense of duty. And so because he was never attracted to her, because he never wanted to be with her, and he was never in love with her, he gave Christine a lot of reasons to leave, but instead, and a lot of reasons to feel insecure and completely without any control. As Kristen said, it's all about men being in control and having the priesthood, and women have to obey and submit, or they're going to get the wrath from their husband, and they don't really have any other choice because they have to do it for God. So in this new clip that came out by TLC, which is a teaser for the episode that's coming up on Sunday, Cody actually is responding to some questions about Christine and temper tantrums that she has, and this idea that she's a game player. And what I think is interesting is Christine sort of denies a lot of it, and even the woman that's interviewing him pushes back and seems to not think that what he's saying is even accurately remotely true. But what I think is absolutely interesting in all of it is that Meri agrees with her. Christine, that is. So let's dive into this video. Before we do, can you do me a very big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed, and turn those notifications on so you know when I go live and new content loads. So Cody is talking about games that Miss Christine played. And he brings up this whole idea that at one point in time, he was trying to reconcile with Christine.
Initially, my issue was I thought Christine was playing a game. From the time we were married, manipulation, pouting, temper tantrums, I mean, just behavior things.
Whenever you listen to a person that's a narcissist like Cody, you just have to remember, like, whatever they accuse someone else of doing is what they actually are. So it's like reverse Uno. So if, like, he's saying that Christine is like this, reverse Uno, it's actually me, okay? And you're only playing with two people. So Cody is saying that he dealt with manipulation. Okay, so who was actually the one that manipulated people this season? It was Cody. Remember when he wanted to try to get Christine to stay in Utah and not move with Truly, and he threatened to bring in lawyers and take all of her money, and he made threats about a secretive guy that's going to take all of his cash. And remember when Janelle wanted a house and wants money to pay off the lot, and Cody wanted her to buy Christine's house, and he was trying to manipulate her into getting the house for him, even though she didn't want it? Or remember when he was trying to manipulate Janelle into submitting and being loyal to him and letting him be the head of the household? Temper tantrums. Do we need to go there? What about the knife in the kidney? What about when he was screaming in rage and going like this to his hands when he was talking to Janelle at the fire pit at Robin's house, and he was upset with her about not following his rules and disobeying him and disrespecting him, and her kids not respecting him? Who's the one that has consistently shown throughout the years that they would have temper tantrums and use aggressive behavior and anger to get what they wanted, which is actually very manipulative? And game playing. Who is the one that has admitted that he does things specifically to people to try to get what he wants, or to see if they can submit to him and get them to just bend to him? Cody. Cody has admitted to doing all of these things, and he's shown you on this show that he will have temper tantrums. Now, I'm not doubting that Christine, Janelle, or even Meri have raised their voices in their lives. We are all humans. I can count on one hand the number of times I've actually seen Christine literally go to the extent that Cody goes to. I've never seen her do it, actually. I've seen her get upset and get emotional and cry. But can you really imagine a woman, like, can you imagine having 4 wives and having the audacity to say that the wife is playing games with you? I'm sure games happen back and forth. And I'm sure when she found out that Meri might be reconciling with Cody, she might have had some thoughts, but nobody stops Cody from doing anything other than Cody. So using her to be the blamer, the blame game is what he's doing. Remember, he even admitted to playing the blame game. He does a lot of that. He plays games, but he's calling her the game player. So it's, again, reverse Uno. Who's the one that's doing this? Cody. So it's very interesting that this would all come to pass, right? And Christine can't even make any sense of it.
I think both. I think he's saying I'm the poison. I don't think he was saying our relationship's the poison. I think that for him, he would be fine if we just had a platonic, completely not even friends. For some reason, that was fine. That's not a marriage. I'm sorry, it's not.
So the conversation is revolving around their discussion when Cody and Christine were sitting down at the table and having a discussion about what she wanted to leave. And do you recall that Cody making comparisons, or he started making comparisons of how she should just be okay with things because Meri's okay with things, and then he got mad at her or she got offended because why would you compare me? And he was saying over and over and over, you can't compare relationships, right? And then she said, why wouldn't you just then compare me with Robin? Because this is a relationship you have that works. You're comparing me to one that doesn't work. because in her mind, she would think, you know, if you want to compare me to something in your work, you want this marriage to work, why wouldn't you compare me to something good? But she makes a point and says that he didn't want to make that comparison because to him, he was done. He believed she was poison and would have been just fine in a relationship where they're platonic and they don't even hang out or interact with each other. And she's got a point that that's not a marriage. And yesterday in my interview with Kristen, I should note that she talked about how as women are aging and they don't need their husbands around anymore because there's not this need to, one, procreate for God and have as many kids as possible. Two, the needs and the emotional needs of the kids aren't needed as much because the kids have grown and they become more independent and assertive. The women begin to realize that they don't have to put up with the same crap that they needed, and they start to recognize that I don't want to deal with this. I don't want a platonic relationship. This is ridiculous. And a lot of times some women will stay, and they stay in that place where they don't have anything to do with their husbands because they have their own life and they're fine. And other times women leave because that's not what they want. They want more. So just because someone stays and they're fine with it doesn't mean that that kind of behavior by a man is okay, by the way. It just means that they're complacent enough and complicit enough and comfortable enough to not do anything about it. And they think they're happy, as Kristen said. So for her, she just didn't want to be with Kody anymore. Kody wants to make her the temper tantrum one and the one that's doing all these things, but he's making a demand on her that he would never accept for himself. Right? He would never allow himself to be in a platonic relationship with anyone. If, say, Robin said this to him, I never want to be physical with you, Kody, anymore, what do you think he would say? I'm not going to do that. I'm not okay with that. No, you can totally just sit there, Kody. Everything is fine. We're all fine. We don't need to be intimate anymore. How do you think Kody would react? He would probably leave too. But then when Meri's asked about it, she actually thinks that Kody was bad and wrong for doing this.
Well, I don't think that should have even been brought up. Like, I thought that was really not cool.
Of Kody?
Yeah, bring me into their conversation. And I totally get Christine's reaction. Like, why would you do that? Why would you compare? No husband should ever, ever, ever compare one wife to the other.
Do you remember during the season that Janelle had made this comment about how she didn't appreciate that she was being used as leverage in an argument with Christine? So like something that he was doing, he was using Janelle as the well, this is okay with Janelle or that or something like that, and trying to make it so that because Janelle was something, Christine was something else. You know what I'm saying? And she made this comment like, I don't like being used as leverage in an argument for somebody else when you're mad at Christine. And Meri is effectively saying the exact same thing. I don't like that in their argument, he went there and he brought up me into their conversation and compared us because that's not cool. And she even could understand Christine's reaction to that and why Christine was upset with that, because husbands shouldn't compare wives with other wives. You know, Kody always used to say that every single relationship was independent of one another and that each wife brought something to the table that was unique and different. And that Robin would say, there'll never be another Christine. There'll never be another Meri. There'll never be another Janelle. There'll never be another Robin. And that was sort of the lies that they would tell when you know full well that they're always comparing. How would you not compare? I feel like in the world where you're trying to make sense of things and you're trying to make quick deductions and reasonings, bring reason to problems, it's incredibly easy to draw comparisons of situations and see like, well, this person responded to me this way and this person responded to this way and this way I liked more. And it's not hard to form opinions on what your preferences are and what you like better. And if you know someone's not doing what you want, why would you compare them to someone that you're not involved with and you want no relationship with? It's because you're putting her in a position where it's the same position as Meri. And to Meri's point, it's not fair to Christine for her to be used as a weapon against Christine, for Kody. And Kody uses the wives against one another and pits them against each other. I'm interested to see what Meri's reaction is to a lot of this in this tell-all. there's a lot of parallels to the relationship that he had with Christine, one that he had with Meri, specifically with how it ended. And it seems like he has the same complaints for the wives and comes up with the same lies for the wives. Makes you wonder, now that Janelle's gone, now that Christine's gone, would this finally open the door for Meri to leave? Would she finally wake up and say, hey, you know what I learned, the indoctrination, everything, it was all a lie. I don't have to do this anymore. Because at this point, they don't have a celestial kingdom anymore. He doesn't have his 3 wives. He has 2. And you know what happens when you only have 2 wives and you're still a believer? You go nowhere. So he can't give her what he promised to her and what she thought she had. And does that mean Robin might leave because that's what she thought and she was a believer and thought she needed to have that many wives? It'll be definitely interesting to see what happens here. But Kody is shifting and projecting and deflecting. And I don't think the game player was actually Christine, but rather Kody himself. And kudos to Meri for actually having Christine's back. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.